So for this question, we have A, B, and S lying on a circle with center O and radius 3. Now, T is a point on STOC straight line and ST is equals to 1. Now, I'm given that BC is X cm over here. Right? I will need to find OC square in terms of X. Now, this question is not difficult. Right? If I want to find OC square, I can first observe that, I'm looking at a right angled triangle. Now, looking at this triangle, I need to find OC. Now, given the other two adjacent edges, 3 cm, which is the hypotenuse, as well as BC, which is X. Now, using Pythagoras theorem, then OC square will be the same as basically OB square minus BC square, right? So OB square is equals to 3 square and BC square is equals to X square. Therefore, OC square is just equals to 9 minus X square. Okay, with that, I'm done for part 1. Now for part 2, given that the height of the triangle ATB is 2x. Okay, so TC here is 2x. Okay, I want to show that OC is 2x minus 2. Okay, so here OC, right, TC is 2x. And what is OC? If you can see it, this is 2x. If I want to find OC, I can also consider that OC here is the same as TC subtract TO, right? And how do we find what's TO? So if you observe TO, SO is also the radius of the circle, right? So because SO over here, this is also equals to the radius of the circle, which is 3 cm. You can see that TO is just SO minus TS, which is 2 cm. Okay, so if you consider TO is the same as SO, which this is actually the radius of the circle. Subtract away ST, which also is just 1 cm. Right, so this is 1 cm and SO is 3 cm, which gives us TO to be 2 cm. Alright, so with that, right, based on this, you can say that OC is the same as TC, which is 2x, subtract away 2, because TO is 2, right? And therefore, you are done with part 2. Now, let's look at part 3. I want to show that 5x squared using my answers in part 1 and part 2. So what am I doing in part 1 and part 2 is I can see that in part 1 and part 2, I have found two different expressions for OC. Now, in part 1, OC square is 9 minus x square. In part 2, OC is 2x minus 2, which means that I can basically rewrite OC in two different ways. Okay, either OC square is 9 minus x square or 2x minus 2 square, right? So let me expand this expression here. Sorry, not expression, equation. A square minus 2ab plus b square. And simplifying this, I will get 5x squared minus 8x minus 5 equals to 0. Alright, and I have completed part 3. Now I go to part 4. Now I want to solve this equation, 5x squared minus 8x minus 5, correct to 2 decimal places. Alright, so what I will do is I will probably use the quadratic formula. Alright, so the quadratic formula, you can either use the quadratic formula or factorization or completing the square to solve a quadratic equation. So A would be 5, B would be negative 8, and C would be negative 5. So from here, X will just be equals to negative B plus minus square root B square minus 4AC over 2A. And from here, just by solving, you should get your answers X to be 2.08 to 2 decimal places following the question's instructions, or negative 0.48, again to 2 decimal places. Now I go on to the second part of part 4, which requires me to solve negative 5w squared plus 8 over w plus 5. Now what you must observe is to see how closely related these two equations are to each other, which is also why the question used the word hence or otherwise. Now if you observe, it does seem that the equations are quite closely related. What we want to do is to take on a suitable substitution. Now by considering this equation, right, we know from the earlier part that when we look at 5x squared minus 8x minus 5 equals to 0, in solving this gives us x to be 2.08 or negative 0.48. All we need to do is to simply multiply this equation by negative 1, and you can see that my equation can look something like this. It can also be giving me the same solution as negative 5x squared plus 8x plus 5 equals to 0. Now this can be rewritten as this form. Now from here, I know that these two equations has the same solution. What I can do is to take on a suitable substitute by letting x to be replaced by 1 over w. Once you do that, you can see that this becomes 1 over w squared 1 over w. Okay, so you see I'm just replacing x with 1 over w, and if I can replace it in the question, similarly I can also replace it in the solution, which means that 1 over w is either 2.08 or negative 0.48. This will allow me to write down my answer, that if my 1 over w is 2.08, w will turn out to be 1 divided by 2.08, which is let me see, just give me a second, 0.48, 0.481. I'm just going to put this to 3 sig fig, since the degree of accuracy is not specified and the answer is not exact. Now 1 over w is negative 0.48, w will be equals to negative 2.083. Again, I put this to 3 sig fig since the degree of accuracy is not specified. So that is for part 4. Alright, so once I have found my x, do note that here I'm going to write down the value of TC. So as I do part 5, right, I'm aware that if I'm solving for TC, here there's a context to this question. So it means that in the earlier part, when we found x, right, we know that TC is 2x. Right, we definitely cannot take on the negative value of x because TC is a length. So I'm going to reject. Okay, I'm going to take 2x to be the same as 2 times 2.08. Okay, so which is giving me the answer to be 4.16. Alright, the reason again is because you must know that x must be more than 0, hence we are rejecting negative 0.48. So that's all for this question. Thank you.